It's just another day in a review.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I am the coach. Hey, this is Tay. We're here for another episode of Taking Chiefs Recap. Really fun game this week. Chiefs versus the Packers. A little bit nervous near the end there. I was watching it live. A few of my friends on the watch along for the fourth quarter, and I was like, the Chiefs gonna blow this, but no, they held it out. They got the first down. The pass
Yep.
to Tyreek Hill by Patrick Mahomes, getting that first down, they're able
Yep.
to win. But we had Aaron Rodgers tested positive for COVID, so he was out, replaced with Jordan Love, I believe was his
Yep.
name.
Yeah.
That might have had a little bit to do with it. Had a blitz almost every play. The Packers are unable to answer for that until the fourth quarter when they finally scored a touchdown. That's when the game started to get a little bit more interesting. But the defense, they picked it up this week, doing their job, holding them
Yep.
scoreless until the fourth quarter. So, what are your thoughts overall on the Chiefs' performance?
Yeah. So I definitely thought that the defense played fantastic. I mean, you know how incredibly hard it is to so-called pitch a shutout in the NFL. Like, I mean, it just doesn't really happen. I mean, no matter who the opponent is, you could be playing the worst team in the league and they might, they still will probably score a field goal most of the time in garbage time, but they will score, So I thought the defense did great. I mean, we had Hitchback, like I said. I know they now again, I was there, so I kind of have to read things afterwards as far as like what they're doing like personnel wise. But I think that they moved Bolton slightly. I know he was obviously still in there, but he wasn't at Mike. He was maybe at I don't know, maybe he was at Sam instead and they moved Hitch to Mike. So he wasn't quite able to stop the run like he had been doing in the prior weeks with Hitch being out. I think they still did a great job of rotating the linebackers in. Melvin Ingram, oh my God, came in and immediately made an impact. I mean, that's what we need, and that's the kind of pickup that you hope that your team gets in before the trade deadline, and they get a guy that can go in and immediately make an impact. Well, we all know the kind of player that Melvin Ingram is, and like I had already talked about, I know the Steelers let him go, but I mean, if he's going to come in here and make an immediate impact in the game and against the backup quarterback or not, I mean, that's what you can ask for. So I think Melvin did great. Chris and Frank again were looking like shells of their prior selves. Chris, I know, had almost all of his snaps back in the middle as opposed to being on the edge, which is what Frank Clark said at the end of the game is where he belongs, which he's absolutely correct. Like, that is his spot. That is his sweet spot. That is how he can get to the quarterback. I think they did a great job of applying pressure all game long. That front set did great. Our linebackers were solid the entire game. They did have, so it wasn't Jones who had, I mean, he ended up having a decent game, but it was what's his name? AJ Dillon, is that his name? Last name Dillon, I think. He was the
Yeah,
running back that kind of got going, and I was like looking at people in the stands. I'm like, who is this guy? Like, I don't watch the Packers on a weekly basis, so I if it's not their main guys, then I don't really know who they are. So I think that
yeah.
guy had a pretty good game for the most part. I mean, I know we eventually stopped him, and like I said, we were kind of moving guys around. We didn't have Bolton where he'd been kind of wrecking the run game in previous weeks, so that I think didn't really happen as much as I would have liked it to. But we, for the most part, did fantastic on defense. And then the secondary was making stops all game. Sneed with a pick. Ward was just all over his guys all game. I mean, you didn't even hear Devontae Adams' name until he scored, and on Sorensen, of course. But I mean, that was just like. I was generally wondering. I'm like, is he playing tonight? Because like I never even
Mm-hmm.
heard his name, and so that just goes to show you that I mean, yes, backup quarterback, I get it, but at the same time, again, it is incredibly difficult to pitch a shutout or almost a shutout in the NFL, no matter who you're playing, backup, starter, rookie, vet, it doesn't matter. Like, it's incredibly hard to play at that type of level. So I think the defense deserves all the flowers again for doing what they're supposed to do and going out there and continuing this high level of play with switching the pieces out a little bit, like I said, getting Hitchback, getting him back in there, throwing in Melvin Ingram, who was literally there for like 3 practices, like I know defense is a little bit different, like the end result doesn't change, no matter what team you're on, you still have one job, right? Like you're going out there to stop the opposing offense. So I know it's a lot different than being an offensive guy and coming into a new team. It's a lot different there, but I thought Melvin did great. I'm excited to see how that continues to go as the season progresses. I think that the defense has done nothing but get better. Again, Dirty Dan being out there and giving up that touchdown. I think what a lot of Chiefs fans are starting to like come to terms with is like, we can't even be mad at Dan anymore. Like at this point, it's on the coaching staff. Like, why are we continually putting Dan in these situations where he's getting picked on to the point where the other team is scoring? Like, why is that what's happening? Because at this point, you got to just stop. Like, you have to stop putting him in these coverages where he's getting beat. Like I said, play him at middle linebacker. Like, he does great at that. He had 2 great stops. I mean, it wasn't by himself. He had help. I know the second one, he was it was like a split sack with Tyron, but like he had multiple times in that game where he was part of stopping the run or stopping the play, getting the sack on Jordan Love. Like there was multiple times where he was out there doing a great job, but then everyone's just going to remember the one isolation play where the shutout doesn't happen. And then you let Davante Adams walk into the end zone, So at this point, like I said, I think it's enough of being mad at Dan, and now we're kind of to the point where, okay, well, we need to be mad at the coaches for putting him in this situation where they know that he is not thriving, he's not doing well at, and rookie quarterback or not, I mean, Jordan Love was starting to kind of get in a rhythm a little bit on that drive, so, I mean, just to have him out there at all, I think was just a mistake, and maybe this gets talked about a little bit differently if he makes a tackle. I mean, he just whiffed him, he's and then he missed him, and then there he goes in for the touchdown. So, obviously, if he makes that tackle, we're not even talking about Dirty Dan at all because, like I said, he had a good game otherwise. So, anyway, I think we're kind of getting to the point where he's gonna slowly but surely not be in that role anymore. I just wish they would stop it, period, because it's not helping anybody, especially not Dirty Dan. But flipping from the defense to the offense, no turnovers for the first time. Literally, I didn't want to even talk about it during the game. I just kept in my mind, I'm like, ooh, we haven't had one yet. Oh, we haven't had one yet, and I literally didn't say anything out loud about it because I was like, I am not jinxing this right now. And this is what I have to say about it, because everybody is so just up in arms about Mahomes in the offense and why are we not doing what we usually do, and it's Mahomes' fault, it's this person's fault. Listen, on Sunday I thought Mahomes had a much better presence in the pocket, and I think he made much better decisions. He had a couple of plays that maybe coulda, shoulda, woulda been interceptions. There was one that went right to a Green Bay defender and he just clapped his hands and missed the ball. I don't even remember who that was supposed to go to. I think it was supposed to go to Tyreek. That would sound about right. But on Sunday, I really don't want to say that it was 15's fault. I think that there were multiple times where his receivers let him down. I mean, Travis again with a huge missed drop. I mean, that was a huge third down play, and it would have been a first if he just made the catch. He didn't even need anything afterwards, and it just hit his hands and he dropped it. And I'm just like what is happening there? And then Nicole had at least 2 drops, maybe more than that. I mean, it's like when one piece is working well, the other piece doesn't do its job. And that's what I think is happening with the offense right now, is they are not clicking. They are not together for whatever reason. And a lot of people are bringing up the play where Pat bombs it down to Nicole for the big chunk play. Should have been a touchdown. And everybody's saying, oh, well, Mahomes, why did you take that ball instead of going for Travis, who was in the middle of the field wide open? Well, listen, there's two things to this, because if you play it back, and I've played this one back because I wanted to see what everybody was, I wanted to see what the two sides were. So, you got the people that are like, oh, Mahomes, why you do that? Well, okay, so here's the thing. Pat goes back to, he's back in the pocket, and he goes to want to throw it the first time. And when he cocks his arm back, Nicole isn't even where he's supposed to be. Nicole had slowed down running, okay, which I just don't understand. Like, how this works. How Mahomes is. And that you have to beat those defenders in order to even give yourself a chance to catch the ball. So Nicole slows down, makes Pat have to hold back his first throw. And then when Pat goes again to throw it, Nicole still wasn't where he was supposed to be. So you guys can be mad at Pat all you want, but at the end of the day, that was Nicole's fault. And, should Pat maybe have taken another look when Nicole wasn't already where it was supposed to be? Yeah, maybe, but he wanted that long ball. I mean, that was and should have been a touchdown. I mean, if the play goes the way it's supposed to, if Nicole never stopped running, that would have been a touchdown almost untouched by the defense. But instead, it was damn near picked off by the three guys that had already caught up to Nicole because he slowed down running. So then you got the people that are like, okay, well, why didn't he throw it to Travis? Travis was wide open. Well, okay, so then you look at, it was either the next play or the play after that, because I think that long ball might have been on first down. So I think it was on the third down on that same series was the ball to Travis in the middle of the field for enough yards for the first down, and Travis just completely drops it. Like, I mean, it hit his hands. It was a catch, and he just dropped it. And so, it's a double-edged sword, because it's like you get mad at him for not taking the easy chunk play, and then when he tries to get the easy chunk play, then our old reliable Kelsey can't even catch the ball. So it's like, I don't know what their deal is and why they're not more in sync. I think that last play of the game where Pat was getting blitzed and he ran to the right outside of the pocket and then he finds Tyreek, I think that was what everyone's calling vintage Mahomes and Tyreek. And I'm like, yeah, it absolutely is. And that, I'm hoping, is a little bit of what we need to kind of set everything back in motion. And I know it sounds so silly, and I know we talked about it during after the Washington game, like, oh, well, this is what we need. This is getting back into the Chiefs. Well, then we've done nothing but go into a slump ever since then offensively. So I'm hoping that tiny little spark and that tiny little effort in that play on both sides by Mahomes and Tyreek to get the first down. I mean, we had, again, think about it now. So what did we do? We scored 3 points against Tennessee, 20 points against the Giants, and then 13 against Green Bay. Like, this is record-breaking, low-scoring games for this Kansas City Chiefs offense. And I think that, honestly, like, it's humbling in a way, because it's like, okay, like, we're so used to scoring 30 plus and like having to score 30 plus to win these games. Well, now it's completely flipped. The defense is helping us win these games because the offense can't get going. So this Sunday is going to be a real true test to what this team is. I think the defense is finally finding its footing. Honestly, I think the coaching just wasn't quite there with the defense at the start of the season. I think we had guys that were injured. Frank Ward, Tyron didn't play the first game. Chris has been hurt. I mean, we've had numerous starting guys that have been hurt, not playing to their full potential, and then just personnel guys that were getting the wrong amount of snaps. Oh, Willie was hurt. I mean, literally everybody on our defense that's a starter has been hurt. Hitch was hurt. So I think it's been a lot of coaching, maybe not putting the right guys out there at the start. Injuries have a lot to do with it. And now they're finally seeing, oh, hey, if we play this guy and this guy together and that guy, and then if that guy comes in as a secondary help instead of being a starter, I think they're finally figuring that piece out. And a lot of people are thinking that Bieniemy is calling these plays right now, and nobody knows. Like, everybody's just kind of speculating, and I'm neither here nor there with it. I don't know who's calling the plays, EB or Andy Reid. Whoever it is, they need to stop. Like, because in a way, it's not working, but at the same time, like I said last week, these little chunk plays, these little small plays. Like, this is what we have to do to win games. And again, like I talked about last week, the first drive of the game was the best drive of the game. We scored our only touchdown on that drive. And it's like, if we can just keep that momentum going, and I get it. I know how football works. I know that, the first drive, like, the defense is still trying to get reads. They're trying to see, how they're going to play you. Like, I get it. I know that usually the first drive is like a gimme, essentially. Not always, because if you're a good defense, that usually doesn't always happen. I mean, a lot of the times, teams either do really, really well at the gates or they do really poorly, So I think if you're a good team, usually you do pretty well on that first drive. If not, then, you obviously give credit to the other side. So I think that, we've been doing really well on these first couple of drives. We've been going out and at least scoring in some capacity on the first drive. And then I think the word that the coaching staff uses, we just like sputter. We're just like sputtering out the whole rest of the game. And it's like, that is very much exactly what is happening. And like, again, credit to the defense for being able to do what they do, but like the offense has got to get it going, because we cannot beat the Raiders or Dallas with 13 or 20 points. I don't think. We could, but it's going to take a lot from the defense, because, and again, and I said this last week, I'm not worried about the defense right now. I'm not, because they're playing out of their minds, and they have been. They have shown nothing but improvement ever since the Washington game. Every week they get better and better and better. And again, people want to talk about the competition who we're playing. I don't care about that. The defense is going out and pitching almost shutouts and stopping teams entirely in the second half. I mean, that just doesn't happen by chance, So I think if we can figure out a spark with the offense, we're going to be in a really good place with these next couple of weeks, because I think the defense is holding their own. They're doing great. And I think that we can keep these next two teams to maybe 21, 23 and below. I think we can do that. But the offense has to do their fair share. Also, shout out to the special teams in that game. They were fantastic. Tommy Townsend had the game of his life. I mean, literally, that guy had 5 punts that were at least within the 20. I think they were within the 10 on the opposite side of the field. So Tommy Townsend, hell of a game. Special teams unit in general, just making Green Bay feel really flustered and rushed. I mean, there were multiple times where we either did end up with the ball, the one time we did, or we should have ended up with the ball. The other time that they muffed the punt and Green Bay got the recovery. But shout out to special teams. They were fantastic. And I think that was another key point, because if you have two sides of the ball that are playing at that high of a level, luckily for the offense, it didn't really matter that they couldn't do anything in the second half, because the defense and the special teams just were playing so fantastic. So anyway, I know that was kind of a lot there, but I had a lot of thoughts about this week, because I just feel like we are in a way catching stride. I know it doesn't look that way on offense, but hey, not turning the ball over for the first time in week 9 of the season. I mean, it sounds so crazy and so cliche, but I mean, that's a win no matter what. I mean, that is something that we desperately needed, was just one game of not messing up on offense, and then to have 2+ turnovers on the other side of the ball, fantastic on the defense's part.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you said, especially with the offense. He's picking up. Patrick Mahomes only 20 for 37, 166 yards. I think that's the fewest he's had all season. 3-and-out plays on the first few drives near the end as well. Like you said, with that amazing pick that they had, that they weren't able to do anything with it. They just had another 3-and-out. That's what I was near the point. I was like, oh no, they're gonna blow this here, but no, they pulled it out. They blocked Mason Crosby's kick for the field goal. That was amazing. I was surprised, because Mason Crosby had that one season where he was missing everything, so that's why I was surprised they kept him on. But I mean, maybe he picked it up since then. But I only really pay attention to Robert Gould. He's the only kicker I really like when he was on the Bears. With the empty possessions going up against the Raiders, rivalry game, it's going to be a big one. So with the offense playing the way they did tonight, are you predicting that maybe they can? If the defense keeps up the good work, they hold their water against the Raiders. Do you think maybe they can pull off another win? I know, Aaron Rodgers not being there, they had a lot to do with it. But the Raiders, they're a completely different team. But for me, a player being sick or injured, to me, it's not an excuse because you got to prepare for that.
Yeah, it's not. You have the same team otherwise.
Yeah, just like it's just like in a Super Bowl when the QB gets hurt and the player comes in like, oh, you only won because he was like, no. To me, it's not an excuse. You have to be ready to go. You have to have a backup plan. That's part of the game. And I think defense, like you said, defense wins game. They held their water. They did their job against the Raiders. I'm not familiar with their offense, but I do know that they're doing okay this season. So what's your opinion with the defense going up against this Raiders offense? You think they're going to be able to hold their own this week, or do you think they're going to struggle? What's your prediction there?
Yeah, I didn't obviously get to watch any of the Raiders-Giants game, but the Giants just beat the Raiders. So again, with teams saying, oh, the Giants aren't good. Okay, well, there you go. So and honestly, I just want to say this NFL season has been so insane. Like the teams that are beating each other is just like mind blowing. Like it's not even like these bad teams are that bad because like they're clearly not. Like they're coming out and beating teams like pretty convincingly, and playing very well with them. So I think we just have a lot of like really young quarterbacks, new coaches, a lot of that going on in the league where teams are still trying to find out who they are. And so, it might be like, oh, the Giants are no good. The Jets are no good. The Jags are no good. But like, they have moments where they are, so it's like all these other teams like the Bills, the Raiders, the Chiefs, the Titans, whoever it is, the Rams, like all these other teams are going out there like, oh, well, we're playing so-and-so. And then they get smacked in the mouth. And honestly, I kind of love it. I think it's great. So anyways, I just had to put in my 2 cents about that because I am here for all of these like underdog teams coming out and beating all these gonna be playoff teams. I think it's great. Just as long as it doesn't happen to the Chiefs, I'm okay with that. But no, I think the Raiders offense has been pretty good this year. I didn't get to see that game against the Giants, so I don't know really what the deal was there. I don't know if it was turnovers. I don't know if the Giants defense just played well. Obviously not having Ruggs is going to hurt them. They just released the cornerback Arnett for the crap that he was pulling on social media this past weekend. So they're now down 2 draft picks from that, I think it was the 2020 draft. 2020 or 2019 draft. Anyway, they're down 2 of their top players from that draft. And, and nobody ever wants to say that like outside stuff affects a team, but like we all know it does. It absolutely does. So, I'm not here to say that that's an excuse or like a reason why they might not play well. But Arnett was their starting corner, so I think that that could possibly help us in the offense. I know nothing of their secondary otherwise. Even though they're in our division, I don't watch the Raiders play, unless they're on a primetime game and playing us, So, I know Derek Carr has had probably the best season of his career this year. So, the defense is going to have a tall task. Don't get me wrong. I just think that at the level they're playing right now, and I know with Derek Carr that if they get to him even a little bit, it completely changes his whole way of play. If you get to Derek Carr, he essentially shuts down. And this is like a known fact. Like Derek Carr is just very much that guy that like if you're putting pressure on him, he will make mistakes. And that is kind of what we've played Derek Carr to in the whole time that he's been at the Raiders is like apply pressure, he will make a mistake, and he does. Kind of similar to Phillip Rivers in San Diego. Like he was the same way. If you apply pressure to him and maybe you don't get to him there, you'll make him throw a pick, So I'm kind of hoping that that's kind of how the ball game goes. If our front line can apply pressure to Derek Carr, either get him in the backfield or make him make a mistake, then I think that kind of helps set the tone for the game. If we do that early, I think that has a big confidence boost in the entire way that the game goes. Now, again, if the offense doesn't show up, it makes that a little bit tougher. But, I think they get it going enough to at least make it a good game. I think the Raiders are probably the best that they've been in recent years. I know that they've kind of been up and down with Derek Carr. The season that he went and broke his leg was arguably the last time that they had like a good season with him. So it's been a while. I know they thought they had a good season last year, the year before that, but they always kind of fizzle out a little bit. So this is our first matchup with the Raiders this year. So we got to bring it. And this game right now is everything, because if we go out and win, we almost immediately, I think if we would be, if we win and the Chargers win, we would be tied for first. But if we win and the Chargers lose, we jump from tied for third to first place. So that is a huge meaning in this game. So I think we got to go out and bring it, and we have to understand that it's Raider week, and we got to go out and take care of business. I mean, we dropped one to them last year, and that was kind of what seemed to be the Raiders Super Bowl, so if we can take care of business in Las Vegas, I think that kind of helps set the tone for the rest of the season, because this is only our second divisional game. Our whole division really hasn't played each other. I think each team has played like one divisional game, which is just crazy, and we're in almost the middle of November. So anyway, it's a big one being in week 10. And our bye's coming up, so we have the Raiders and then we have Dallas. So we've kind of got to at least compete these next two games. I mean, if not win out in November before the bye. And getting to that bye without having another loss would be huge for this team, especially with how it was looking after the Tennessee game. So, I think we go out and handle business. I honestly think it'll be close. I think it'll probably be low scoring. I hope it's not. I hope the offense finds the rhythm again and we can put up 30. But with the way they've been playing, I'm not going to count on that, just because I haven't seen that for a month, So, but if we can do that, if we don't turn the ball over again, I think there's a very good chance we win. And if we're on the plus side of the turnovers, if our defense gets turnovers and the offense doesn't commit any, I think that we come out of there with a win. I'm not saying it'll be easy, though. I think that this team is going to have to work really hard for this. But they have to understand what's at stake, because this could be their season if they don't win.
Of course. Well, yeah, this should be a fun game to watch. I always love watching rivalry games. The Las Vegas Raiders. I'm so weird. But so the Bears play the Ravens next, so that'll be interesting. Hopefully, Lamar Jackson will just run all over the place. The Bears are so close to winning.
Oh, man.
That
was a great game last night.
Yes, it was very fun to watch. But
the rest were awful.
Yeah, kind of questionable calls there during that game, but it's just it's always disappointing when the Bears walk away with a loss. But hopefully they bounce back this week against the Ravens. We'll see. Another tough.
Hey, that
week.
Would be nice.
That would be. It would be because I'm kind of, I don't want to quite give up on them yet, but we'll see how they do against this Ravens team. But yeah, I think with the Chiefs, with their offense, I think if Patrick Mahomes, he does those magician plays. We find some in the middle of the field, just bombing it, running out of the pocket, just playing like the star we all know he is.
Yeah.
And I think everyone's healthy this week for the Chiefs, right? There are no big injuries.
Yeah, I know I think he plays. What's he play? Left tackle, I believe. Niang, he hurt his ribs or something. So him and Remmers were actually both hurt, I think.
Okay.
So Wiley had to go in, which is crazy. Wiley was one of our starting linemen in previous years, and now he's third string coming in because guys are hurt, which is crazy. But I also saw that we finally activated Kyle Long back to the roster today. He is finally not injured anymore. Kyle Long we got in the offseason, and he was supposed to come out and be a starter. Now, forgive me, I don't know exactly what position Kyle plays. I know it's not center. I think it's right tackle. I don't know. But anyways, he's somewhere up there in the line, and he finally got cleared. So I don't really know what that means. I don't think that Kyle's going to come in and take anybody's starting O-line position by any means. But it might be nice to have him as a backup type of deal if someone else were to get hurt. Obviously, you don't want that to happen, but it happens, especially at O-line. So anyway, yeah, Kyle Long's back, so that's cool. Be nice to have someone else to be able to back these young guys up if stuff happens. Also heard talks. I don't think it's gonna happen, but I heard talks that we were talking to OBJ, and I don't know what's gonna come of that. I also heard him say if he if he gets to pick, which he does get to pick now, he's a free agent. So that he wants to go to Green Bay, and I'm like, I mean, that's cool. You can go to Green Bay, but like for what? You're gonna be not getting that many balls because Devontae is the guy out there. So
you want to play in the cold? I don't know. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
I'll be surprised, but yeah, I'll believe that when I see it.
Yeah,
Because you never know
exactly.
but yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's still not too late in the season. Like I said, it's only week 9,
Yeah.
so they can still make some changes. But yeah, Tyreek Hill, Patrick Mahomes, they just do those amazing plays. I think they'll pick it up as long as he doesn't, have these 20 for 37 games. I think if he just, he does better. I was really surprised how low the stats were for him, but offense just needs to pick it up. Bless you. They need to pick it up. No problem.
Yeah, I got to see.
Offensive line, as long as they do their job, give him some time to throw, make decisions. He can make those smart plays, hit players that are wide open. Like you said, just go for those short plays. I mean, if he can make those long plays downfield, great. But I honestly think they do better when they have a group going and they make those short plays, first down, eat up that time on the clock, give defense time to rest. No 3-and-out plays. I think they'll be fine. So I think with the 3-and-out plays, the defense starts to get a little bit tired and winded, and that hurts the defense. They don't have time to plan, they don't have time to rest.
Right.
But speaking from experience, they struggle. You can have the best defense in the league, but if they're tired, they're not going to do it. Not productive. Yeah. Well, we'll see how they do.
Honestly, too, I mean, I think that has a lot to do with how the Packers even scored, because I mean, our offense did nothing in the second half, so it was like maybe not every series was a 3-and-out, but it sure felt like it. I mean, our offense was on the field for maybe 2 minutes to drive, mostly less than that, so the defense was going right back out there, and it was like, I mean, again, I'm not gonna dog on anybody, but I think that that had a lot to do with probably their effort and how tired they were in that moment in the game. I mean, I think they still did a great job. So, it is what it is. They got 7 points. Like you said, it kind of made it more interesting, so to speak. But I was a little, not gonna say I wasn't nervous in that in their final little possessions that they had, but I had faith in the defense, and they did a great job. So they helped seal the deal. And then when the offense got the ball back, like I said, it kind of went vintage Mahomes and Tyreek, and they were able to ice the game with that play, which was exactly what we needed. I mean, and that's just a look that the Chiefs haven't really seen anymore. Teams don't blitz Mahomes anymore because they know what happens when you blitz him. You blitz him, and then he runs, and then he finds someone down the field, and he makes a crazy play. So there's a reason we haven't seen that. I mean, honestly, like there is a very valid reason why that play doesn't happen anymore, and it's because teams don't do it. They know better. They're like, oh, well, you shouldn't have blitzed that guy because he's going to make you pay for it. And they're absolutely right. So, I mean, I see what the Packers were trying to do. I really do. But thank God they blitzed. And thank God he was able to get out and Tyreek was right there. I mean, it kind of reminded me of I guess it was the Browns game in the playoffs last year. I think it was. I think it was the Browns game. I don't know. But there was a very similar play where, and I guess it would have been Chad Henne, not Mahomes, but it was like peeling out of the pocket and just do a little dump pass and just caught the ball and the game was over. And so that's kind of what that reminded me of, and that's kind of why everyone's saying like it's the vintage boys back. So anyway, I hope to see more of that, and I think that if we can get some of that, then we'll get a dub out in Vegas.
Oh yeah, well we'll see. Hopefully both our teams get a win this week. Hopefully the Bears can finally get a win. That'd be nice for my Bears to actually win. But yeah, I'm sure the Chiefs will they'll fix some mistakes here and there, and the offense hopefully come up with a good game plan. They had a good game plan on defense. Hopefully keep that going, and then they'll put the pressure on Carr. I don't know about seeing a blitz every play. Maybe that worked in this game, but again, that was against Jordan Love.
Yes.
I wonder if that would have worked against Aaron Rodgers. Maybe. We'll see. Maybe. But we'll never know.
We'll never know because they're never gonna get to play each other.
We'll see against the Raiders. Anything else you want to go over? I think we covered pretty much everything.
I will say, I think we hit it all.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, we got Las Vegas Raiders, Bears go against the Ravens. We'll see if they can squeeze out a victory again. We're getting close to the wire here. So thank you, Tay. It's always an awesome time here on the recap. You guys, thank you so much for joining me. Always a fun time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We'll see you next week for the Chiefs versus Raiders recap. And thank you all. I want you all to have a great night.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you.